It's almost as if they're speaking and not knowing because they're not allowing God to speak through them. They're speaking because they want to get home and they're scared and they're worried. What is worry? Where in the Bible do you see worry? Besides when it tells you not to worry, because worry is what? The opposite of faith. Worry is having a doubt that faith is even real. Or what you're saying makes sense because you have that doubt and that worry. So all that accumulates and all that does is spreads more worry. Now, God is faith and the Word is faith. So if we're speaking from the Word and we are speaking on the behalf of God's will, for His will, to do His will, not thy own, but His, you have to have prominent, a complete 100% idea of, or opening your heart and allowing Him to speak through you. That's faith. There can't be any doubt. So if we have all this time in our hands, and now I understand 5G technology a little bit more than I don't want to. Probably a lot more than anybody else, maybe even anybody else in this town. Because if I measure 5G speed, I measure it at 1 megabit per second. Now, HSPA plus the original 4G, or right before, in between 3G and 4G, I want to say maybe at its lowest 29, maybe 32 megabits per second. And I could go on and measure things, but 4G LTE, let's just put it at a bracket of 46 megabits. Now, how do we get 46 megabits and can say that it's actually measured lower than 5G? You know, people had that worry of 5G is the devil, that's the coronavirus. I'm not going to get into that, but I can assure you 5G is faster. 5G is going to do a lot more. It's not going to do any cause of hurt. It's not going to come from that. I can guarantee that. But I can guarantee this. It's actually a slower signal, but it's more steady. Just like how we are supposed to be reading the word and understanding and spreading it and loving. I can explain on a pertinent. Well, I'm not going to do that. Just know, on man's measurement by what is called a, I could say a law or a, not a theory, but is proven into a fact. It is faster, right? 5G's up here. It's way up here. Now it's gone. It's back. 4G, LTE, whatever, it's just moving. And it is measured by man's measurement system at a slower rate. And that's probably too much to capacitate with all this. If we want to get to a solution and even start anywhere, Maslow had this the hierarchy triangle. We needed basic needs. We need shelter, down to food, water. Love got down there, and then our entertainment and all that. It all started like that. And back to that was why I was speaking on the lady's behalf. She passed out these diagrams with the triangles to everybody in there. Everybody's the same, and she stopped it. And she's saying, and she explains it, and she's like, "No, it's never going to be like this, but obviously it can." She's like, "It's not like this for anybody else. Everybody's triangle's the same." We touch back on my cell phone or material possession, desire, addiction. So Michael's is different. Mine was Wi-Fi at the top, cell phone, shelter, which came before the actual immediate need, water, food. I could explain that, but I think we kind of most of you already know that I couldn't live without a phone. It's becoming an issue with me, but I'm learning to deal with that. Anyway, how do we get to the solution? Well, if I just explain all this, we gotta backtrack. Let me see where everything starts. Back to 2019, but it starts before that. You know, our lives have progressed and become so easy. And now everything that is smart is supposed to help us, right? But in my own sense, I have a whole there's a bedroom there, but I can't get into it because there's boxes of stuff that I accumulate, and I let be the burden of me and drive me nuts, and I go back and forth, move from one place to the other, and then I don't can't find nothing. I can't enjoy shit. Sorry for my language. I can't because now I have built up nothing but worry and junk, and there's people that need that stuff, and I don't need it. My whole life I'm trying to enjoy my life, and I've done nothing but build obstacles. Or if you guys remember the game of Mousetrap, I build these obstacles, I go over them, and I almost make it to the end to where I can sit back and rest, and I might actually watch a TV show. But I knock those obstacles down and I start over continuously. It's a crazy cycle. How do you stop that? You got to go back to the beginning and see where you've messed up, or go to the source. So I think that I want to conclude this video. I'm going to go get this debit card, and I want to donate to them with this fund in the video. And I'm going to later on go back on the live stream, and I hope that people will support by following, and I'm going to link it to the YouTube channel. And shout outs to the two individuals who put me in a loop yesterday, but I congratulate, hats off to you. I have a brand name again. I have a YouTube channel that is actually a brand name channel. And I have other YouTube channels. I think the one that I had that had the most, maybe 20, I think it was either 20 or 60,000 views, but I don't have followers. But now I have this brand name, and this is on the channel that I had, I believe, mind you, that was, well, actually, I might even have two, because I might be mixing the two up. Because I have Mizzy the Mod Guy that's branded, and then I have Young Mizzle Music that YouTube, remember when the lady went crazy and she shot the place and all that, whatever, at the Google. They took all my videos down, my music videos. Not that they were good, but they were mine, and I didn't have rights to a couple of the beats, and that's a good enough reason to take it completely down. So everybody knows about this link stuff. Everybody should be kind of worried, not worried, but aware, and aware to be aware is to be alive. So don't click on links. Don't. That stuff has been almost the drop of me. But I get a link. I'm so into wanting to find out what is going on because I'm watching a live stream. And as I said before, I've wasted these last 6 years. Not wasted, but I've let technology not get the best of me, but go way ahead of me. And now I'm catching up, and I've never had to do that before because I've always been one with it, or the one that had it. And I tell this to people all the time. Don't let technology be the center focus, or the center or any type of focus for you. Don't let it do you. But you can allow it to help you. Just don't overindulge. And if you get too far behind, I hope that you catch up with it. And it's not because that's my higher power. But if you're not with it, and especially in these times where we've designed 5G for the ability to be able to communicate, or actually, it's going up as far as not these satellites or anything, but the 5G signal itself, and how we shoot that signal ahead, and how we can use that signal to travel. 5G is the next, not even that long, in the next year and a half, and actually, I have a feeling it's going to start in April. What 5G is going to do for us is, it's amazing. And now I'm not even going to say that. That's too much. Let's get back to the point. So we can take what Maslow has done, and we can make like a triangle, and at the same time make a center, or inside of these boxes on this triangle, we can have its own separate tag or bracket. We got to find borderline reason that we've caught so far off track. Obviously, people like me have not given back enough. Not per se that the giving back enough, but the taking and the laziness and the ability. I'm young. I'm 32. Very, very. When I was younger, I was very, very active. Extreme sports, basketball, football on the side, but I never played for the team. Track, you better watch out. I've done so much dirt, not like dirt as in bad stuff, but yeah, bad stuff. I broke down my body. Now that I'm trying to get back into it, it's not too late. It's just I wasn't with it. I didn't stick to it. So never get or let your focus or your mind get too far strung off. So this borderline idea here is we've got numbers. We've got these numbers accumulating now with death tolls and who's more likely and quote unquote immunity. So if we only have, let's say, 900,000 vaccines with all the people, this not being a selfish nation because our percentage of the death toll right now in the world is like 6% increase in the entire world of death toll. It's like 22% in increase in the United States. And that's the highest. Now again, the entire world averaged at on an increase today 6%. The entire world, including us, and we're at 22, and we're leading that. So, are we helping the situation? Is any of this helping the situation, or are we living in faith, or are we living in doubt? Borderline issue here is we're not taking the time to analyze the numbers, the input, the individuals who need it more, the sacrifice, and we have that ability. And if we use Maslow per se, we can start with the children. Now, there is a balance between the two of that because the children are less susceptible of not necessarily catching it, but having an effect for it. Now, it can actually make, when you grow up around certain things, not that you obtain or accumulate a ability to withstand, not that you actually get an immunity, but your body over time and over centuries, the anatomy of the body can live with it. Or what a vaccine does, pretty much everybody does. It's like chickenpox and all that. They put it in you to kind of counter-react if you were to get it in a sense that creates an immunity. Not saying that we need to take from the kids, but we really need to have some experts analyze these numbers. We have 900,000 per se. We got to take the percentage of the individuals by, I don't want to say it, but occupation's a big thing. Education is too, because if all else fails, and we are, well, I'm not going to say it because that's classified. Well, in the future, near, distant, far. Right. Nope, I'm not going to say it. Mars. Just didn't say that. And it's a back plan. But it's also something else. So we have to analyze all these things. So essential workers, the real essential worker is the person who has the knowledge, the capability, and the hands-on work of healthcare workers. Then it breaks down into an age group. I'm going to say 37 down to 22 could be our bracket, and then 22 down to 18, small bracket. No, let's go down to 16. And then 16 down. This could be their own brackets, well, age group brackets. Delivery drivers. And blessing, I don't have a driver's license. I haven't had one since 2000, well, early 2010, late 09. I've never seen a job position that has so many benefits that I realize now that there is like 10, 15 benefits that you could have. And the pay rate that I'm being offered is 32. Normally it's 32, or it would be the lower number up. It's $36 to $32, right? And it's salary based, but on an hourly wage. $2 pay increase for hourly overage. Not even the overtime. You know how overtime works, time and a half, but that wasn't offered because right now we can't pay people time and a half. It's really your heart's got to be in this. Don't feel entitled to it because other people need this. There's funds that people need. Again, there's a $1 pay increase on top of for the if you're working the AM shift, another $2 increase for weekends, and then another $2 increase for the I think it was shift overage or something. To me, that's $9 over. And if you put your all on it, if we do everything if we're doing it before God as we are, you're gonna put 100% in. You're gonna get that 36 plus. So that's $45. Now, all those benefits, I could go on and read them to you. It's amazing because now not only did I have an idea for my student loan and all this, I've got it set out to where I want to put in a separate account for my books on next semester and whatever, but full tuition paid. On top of paying back loans, personal student, 401k with match. It's just more than that. It's like 9 of them. Anyway, I don't have a license again. Requirements. History of driving. Parentheses. No driver's license required. Primary reason and purpose for this position through United States Postal Services delivering the goods of healthcare workers and the delivery of the vaccine. Now, does that put the individual in, say, I get the job offer, does that put me in a position that I should be higher up with this vaccine? No, it doesn't. Now, I have a rare blood type, and I have a plasma. I have a rare plasma. I'm not saying that I'm a cure or anything. I'm in these positions where I have the ability to give back, and I keep getting my entire life. I get so many opportunities, and it's not just a 1 week thing or one time thing. It's 2 opportunities a day, and this is kind of the reason why I tackle on too much for myself, because one, I don't know what I want to be. I'm still a child. I'm 32, and I don't have an idea. Well, I do kind of now. I want to go into media. Well, I'm doing media now, but there's really nothing that I don't want to do. I think that the ideal job for me is Mike Lowe or whatever. Not dirty jobs, but a lot of jobs. I like to kind of change it up, but then craziness. I also like to have a schedule. Back on topic. So it doesn't put me in a position to where I should have something that, or an entitlement to something that somebody else should have, because I've made it thus far. Not saying that I haven't had the virus yet, because I remember back before this started, almost after the teacher went on a strike thing, my stepchildren were so deathly ill, and they like to talk, and they like to talk loud. They like to be heard. They couldn't. They had to type and show you. You remember being in drive-thrus at like 12 o'clock at night, and they're wearing headsets and all that when it first had the outbreak, and I'd been waking up to it. Fuck, I had been on a week binge, and I had probably slept through. I don't know how long I slept. But when I woke up, I had the fear of God in me, and I was like, I couldn't even dial the phone to reach my level. I thought it was too late. Waking up, and everybody's so scared, and their eyes are like, and they're not even strung out. They're just in distress. They don't know what to do. And I'm damn near, I could have called me a bear. So I was gone. I was hibernating. I wake up to this. And so, yeah, I think that maybe I might have contracted it at a point in time, but I didn't have a symptom, which doesn't mean that I didn't have it. But I've never had it, and I always had followed by faith and put that first as far as wearing a mask goes. But I wear a mask for the simple fact of, one, respect, and two, we're never going to contain this or cure it if we don't stop going out in public and not wearing a mask, or even going out in public at all. See, things don't get a cure, and things don't stop without a number dropping. And America, all over the place, and then we get bored, and we hear that things are getting better, and then we try to jump straight back into it. It's not going to work that way. So there's so many things, and so it's just a real fine balance. We can say all day long that we are trying and we're doing this, but we're not, because back to God's word, it has to be 100%. There can't be an impurity, and there can't be one that falls. Mousetrap, remember, if you don't do it exactly right, then how are we going to get this done? Or I don't do it exactly right, which I don't. So, no, I don't. I wouldn't get a vaccine for sure, spot, or an entitlement to it. No, it doesn't work that way. The ones who have had these tests done and the weakened immune systems, or people that catch colds, or the elderly, and there has to be an analysis per person, not only per occupation or job or age. And we have computers that do all that for us. So if we're keeping tabs or keeping information on each individual who does this, so take your part, get your test done. And in the beginning, it was like, oh, I don't want, because Trump had said this: if you don't think that you have it, then don't go and get tests. We are getting tests and da 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 da. But I just signed up for it, and you sound like Trump. Horrible impression, but I don't think Trump's a bad guy at all. I think Trump is very scared right now, and I am too. And he's so mixed up and out of it, man. But you should see me on a tackle on everything day. Trump times 20. Anyway, we analyze all these things and we compute it all. So we have the vaccine coming. I mean, it could be here. I'm not going to say that. I don't even want to speak on anything like that. Vaccine, for sure, will be here. Put it that way. Where before, it was a shortage of masks and we didn't even have the test yet. Well, we did, but it's portrayed that we didn't. So it was like, don't get the test if you don't think that you have it, because the next person might need it. Well, I think that you get a good number or a good sense of thing or a good analysis over time, or the average gets more accurate as the amount of tests goes up. So I'm not saying take advantage of the system, but do your part, get the test done, let these computers analyze you, and don't live, or don't get mad, don't have jealousy, don't have pity, don't have hate, because that's not going to help. Don't analyze yourself to your neighbor. Don't compare. We all kind of have a good sense of this. You can kind of roundabout estimate who needs it and who doesn't, and what bracket they should be in. And if the one who needs it first can't receive it because the person behind them who didn't need it took it, what does that do? Healthcare workers, even though it might seem that it's at their fingertips or at their hand, it's not, because they have to go through the same procedure. Now, in a personal experience here, the federal, I can't remember the cycle, whatever it is, I can't remember what their name was or who they are, but the federal government had stepped in because when we run these testing centers or whatever, anybody could say that they're not trying to take advantage of it, but there's always somebody that throws the system off. And from as far as I can see, or from the knowledge that I've gained from word of mouth, is I'm not going to throw the people or the organization out there, but there's a testing center that I know of, and they apparently were turning people around because they weren't in a vehicle or what it was per se. On this sheet that you would fill out, you have to put on there the type of vehicle you're driving, the occupation, a few other things. I think that we can get the wrong idea from that. If we kind of look at what we would have to do to get out of this situation, has it, or if it gets like kind of like my book, in too deep, where do we go? Where are we in the middle of going? Where have we gone? Where do we have the ability to go right now? Mars. So it's not like you're getting put on a bracket, and I'm not trying to compute or conclude anything or even say anything. I'm just throwing this out here. It's just wink, wink. It's just an idea. So when you see that, hey, my occupation is less than yours, or you feel that way, or if I rode up there on a bicycle and I put bicycle and they didn't turn me around, I fucking sat in between people, and I've even had individuals say, "Hey, I want you to go first, just to see." It's just calming the mood and whatnot, but that could get one could take that the wrong way. But if you think about it, all of this could amount into who would have the not higher position, but who would have the better ability to serve one another. Have we arrived there? We obviously have to maintain a mask, right? When we walk out the door, that's our civil duty now, is to make sure we have this mask. What happens when you're on Mars and you walk out of your house without a mask, or a tank, or an oxygen system? Are we training our minds for this here, or to stop out here, or are we doing it for everything, for the balance, to save ourselves here? Save ourselves if we walk out and commit suicide on Mars because we don't have our mask or ventilation system. But see, are these things kind of starting to make sense? Is it all kind of falling together after these, now 1 hour show and going into another 1 hour show? And we don't have this oxygen there. Now, we might think that we're pretty unique, or that not unique, that everything lives off of oxygen. Well, in my mind, I think that everything else, which is the majority of what's out there or here, really lives off of carbon monoxide. Because if you think about it, that's what the plants and the trees breathe in. And the cycle goes, and they produce oxygen for us. When we die, we fall back into the ground. Like, remember Simba? When we come from the ground, and I don't know, you guys know what I'm saying. We go back into the earth, and we repopulate the soil with energy and nutrients. But the plant life puts out this carbon monoxide, or we breathe it out, and they take in the carbon dioxide, and then they produce in return oxygen once it hits our atmosphere. So, being that there's water up there, it's just there. No, I'm not going to get into that. So we have these trees, or plants, and we're bringing what? Potato plants, right? Well, one knows that it's a quick process. You can actually store the potato virtually anywhere. It lasts a lot longer. You can use the potato as salt, or that too, or as soil. It can kind of redistributes, or it makes sense. But then, again, there's going to be, in my eyes, there's three different types of plants that we're going to take there. And I would like to see some comments or something, somebody's ideas of what three plants you guys think that we're going to take. But there's also something that God given us. He gave us a few gifts. A lot of us thought that it was gold because it stays, it looks clean, and it conducts a lot of energy, and they gold tip everything. So if your HDMI cable is gold tip, your charger is gold tip, that it's a better, the continuity is better, right? But so was that God's gift? Was that, or think of this: when we make a speaker, or if we even in the process of making electromagnetic activity, or when you recharge an electromagnet or an electromagnetic field, the primary source is copper. What else does copper do for us? Depresses appetite, helps weight, it promotes a gratuity, it stops stress, it helps us sleep, it conducts or converts a signal through a magnet connection into sound, which is done by vibration in eardrums and waves. Now, we created fuel and oil and all that, right? Or we found this oil and created fuel. Or what's another way to create fuel? It's acids, or essentially the acidic acid in an orange. What else is an orange? Think of the forbidden fruit. Not one knows what it is. A lot of people have this idea that it's a pineapple. Have we ever thought about an orange? What does an orange do? It can cure heartburn, or it can cause it. Balance. It can eat away pain sometimes, or it can shine. It takes off grease on our hands, or it can dry us out. It is perfectly sour as it is too sweet. But the pineapple almost has those kinds of traits, but either the pineapple is too sour for one or too sweet for the other. God-given gift, orange. Or, not saying or as a word, but or as a noun. And then we have copper. So there's these threes. We're back to these threes, right? So what do you think we're going to bring? They say on there, what are you driving? It's not because it's a thing about how much money you have, because crypto right now on the rise. Everybody knows. We're not going to take a bunch of bundles of fucking money up there. And there still has to be a balance. I'm not saying that one has to be better than the other, or one has to prosper, or have a better job, or we're not going to take unnecessary things. But we have 5G technology, remember? And I'll get into that another day. But that's crypto's in the cloud, right? Magnetic fields, that would be electromagnetic fields is a blessing. Thank you. Oh, I almost said Father, but Elon Musk, you. Never mind. So if we get our currency leveled out, we get rid of the coin that everybody had this coin shortage and this worry. Remember, worry. Opposite of what? Anyway, we get this balanced out, and we've had this attack on cyber security. And I want to thank the officials in cybersecurity, and I really, really want to give a highly appreciative thanks out to the United States Postal Service and the workers. There's a tie in between cybersecurity, and then I'm probably never going to go into that because that's not my place to do so. It all levels out. We get rid of these unnecessary coins in the world, but we don't get rid of them. A lot of you know that I had the unofficial but official business iRecharge Wireless, and I've kind of used the I for my phone, like everybody like kind of idolizes it into it, and I've changed it into I reuse. Not to say that it's just recycling, but you could reuse this card to do something with, right? Or recycle it, melt it down, use it again. So, is everybody going to go to Mars? Or is this something that's going to happen over time? It's not that people will be left behind. But these minerals and materials can be reused. And in a sense, people up in Mars, 5G communication between the two, nobody's left behind. What's happening is there's people, just like the vaccine or the cure, there's people that should be, and there's others that need to take the role of acceptance. Nobody's left behind. We're still in communication here. Things recumulate over time. Everything happens over time. Every good thing has happened over time. Every bad thing, everything happens over time. It's when we try to control time or try to control what time has to play out that things break and fall. So, patience and time, balance, threes, 5G, cures, minerals. We've spoke about a lot of things here. I don't want to get people's mind too far out of here, but I hope that I was able to balance it and put it in a perspective or a fluent perspective where we didn't jump off topic too much. So actually, everybody can have that patience. And, patience is very hard. So if it comes down to it, in the first plan with the triangle and who is entitled to or not entitled to, or who receives, if all else fails with that, we do have a backup plan, and we've been working on this for a long time. And we've astrophysics. Now, physics isn't all a law, or physics isn't all a fact, because I can break physics down in a simple manner on so many different notes, but everybody can. I'm not that smart. I'm really not. I've just had a lot of time on my hands. Patience, the brackets, everything's going to fall into place. Borderline here right now is that faith needs to come first, because without faith brings doubt and worry. So everybody just be patient. Accept what fate has to say. Fate has to tell, or fate has to give. There is always another way out. It just becomes an issue when we try to butt ahead, or we try to take things in a matter of not just our own hands, but a matter that God hasn't placed out there for our ability to do so. Now, SpaceX, I'm going to think as in SpaceX. A while back, a couple people were worried about me, a live video that I had went on, which was actually in a past tense. I think it was recorded in April or March, but it was portrayed to me as if it was live, and I portrayed it to you guys as if it was live. Some of the footage is taken down, but there's times where the footage, it moves so smoothly, but the camera, as you can kind of tell, my phone or whatever, it wasn't jolting or jerking, but the camera lens almost seemed like it came out of body or out of the camera itself. And it seemed as if they were really speaking to me. And I don't know if you guys could tell. It goes back to that eye contact thing. And see, if I move this way, you can see my eyes move. But now if I move this way and continue to look, well, I can't do it unless you got that I can't physically do, but I can do physically with the other individual on the screen what they can do for me, or that's kind of hard to explain. Again, I just want to thank them. They've opened my mind not to an actual prominent level or to a perspective that was derived for just me, but I've taken it that way, and I really appreciate that. Vocabulary, my vocabulary has gone up. You can't tell from this conversation, but following a lot of their videos and some of the people that I've spoke to, I've had a better gain of knowledge than I have by studying. I don't study out of a book or out of what somebody has proven to be fact. I've studied off of what I have accumulated off of the breaking things down, let's say, or the footwork. I'm getting better knowledge that way. I'm not like I'm just going to say this. I'm more of a hands-on learner. Or a continuous mind loop learner. I hope that I've kind of helped explain a lot of this. And I don't want this to be the bad earth. This to have I don't want this to cause any damage. This is not bad. Essentially, this is part of the reason why Illinois has had quite a bit. I'm going to say we have had the best, but Pritzker hasn't done bad. You can't say the man has done bad. He's trying, but essentially what he is trying to do is pull the funds that were available federally and try to get it for us. I mean, you can't knock the guy for trying. It's almost as if just Illinois is his people. He governs that. That's the seat he took. So he hasn't done bad. But I'm not saying it's better that Illinois should get more than anybody else. There's always a balance for things. But this year, on your own behalf, if you're just trying to win some money, beat the odds. There's a reason why they're face down. And you have that ability just going online. And as everything is changing, if you don't know how to use a computer yet, there's somebody next to you right now that does. So get more knowledge of using basic OS. I'm not saying don't go waste money. I'm saying don't waste your money on these. But if you have the extra, it's not a bad thing because it is kind of recirculating money because it is taxed. But this is not going to help when your neighbor is out here walking the streets. He's not out here trying to hurt himself, or she's not like out here like trying to get this or that. Some people aren't so I wasn't entitled to these payments, and I haven't got a payment. And I'm not wanting the sympathy role, but there's people like that don't even have a place to stay. I'm blessed right now. I have a place to stay, and that's great. So I don't need to take something or receive something when the next person who really needs it doesn't get it. So if we want to slow the issue with the money down, which is actually slowing everything down, besides the technology, but could slow that down, just don't take what you don't need. Because if we think about it, this is what started all that, and I'm not going to say as much to blame, I'm more to blame than probably anybody. And there's only going to be certain few people that know, and it's not even people that I know on a personal level that are actually going to know what I'm talking about, or not what I'm talking about, or the blaming part of it. And it's not like a self-pity or anything like that. There's some individuals, you individuals know who you are. I hope that this video actually could get out to you guys, which is very, very, very unlikely, but again, cybersecurity can make that happen. Not saying that I have the ability to whatever. I thank you guys, well, especially the 8 individuals that I briefly had spoke to, or briefly had spoke to me, third party wise, or actually in third person, let's say. I might have
it seemed like I had other things in my mind, but my mind was clouded. I didn't have focus. I have to have like silence and um, especially from all the running my mind has done and the abuse I have done on my body and my brain. I have to kind of slow things down before I can get back into the tune. It's not good for me to worry because I'm supposed to have a lot of faith ahead of me. Really, that's what it's my passion is to minister, not to have a ministry, but to minister like a healthcare worker does, but in a different sense. Kind of what I'm doing now. I break things down and make things make sense that before hadn't made sense because you gotta look outside the box sometimes, and you have to actually put the footwork in. You have to test. You have to not test, but you have to test what your product is because everything works off a factual basis, whether we believe it or not. The best method is trial and error. But when trial and error isn't available because of a shortage, what do? So everybody, I want to close this out. Patience, almost knowing your position, not in a rude way, but knowing where you stand. A lot of this has been such a chaotic mess because people they're not using the patience, whether it's to tell people about these things, because we only have so much time on a program, right? Or whether it's because people are asking too many questions because they don't let the individual speak and you miss the meaning just like in the word. Or whether we don't think that we have enough time, period. Patience, ability, honesty, humility, and children. This is very important. All of those things. One more note. Did anybody know HTML4, JavaScript, any of that stuff when they were growing up? Any track and field, Paperboy? I was born into an era of Pong, but I wasn't playing it. I played Pong or Galaga, all that. That is very easy scripting or coding or graphics processing. But today, these children know more than you would think, and they know that shit like the back of their hand. Some would say that they're hacking a game. But it's not a hacking a game because before, when it was unfair, now that has become the primary objective is to know more or how to produce or change things to get ahead. Just like how we get to Mars. Get this way, that another. So these children need a lot of love, and people are thinking that they're not getting enough outside time. And back a few years ago, had we not even created the technology that we know and given them that ability to do so, then we wouldn't have had to try to get mad at them for not playing outside or whatever it was. These are members of what we used to do. And that's almost come obsolete, like in its entirety, because we can't even, you know what I'm saying? And kids don't want these on all the time. And before all this happened, they didn't want to go outside anyway. So at this time, playing those video games and knowing how those video games work, or HTML4 or whatever it is, what before was so unknown to us has become the norm to them. So sports and all that, being active has to be taught, but discipline is a must. And discipline also comes with schedule and balance and ability and sleep
So I think that we all know what needs to be done as far as the new children come in. I have a child that people think that I neglect. So you can't really take my word on that. Like if I can't back it up, I can't. But I know what I'm talking about, and I have a well, not even a grandson. I have a grandson. Let's just say that I love, and that I know is very smart. And my son is very, very smart. So we can't just stop them from what they've been doing, and we really can't just make them go outside now. So if you can maintain an analysis in the positions that people need, you know right from wrong, and you know whether something becomes an obsession or something becomes a cure per se. So everybody just be patient, take your time. Really play it like it's chess, but don't try to play ahead. And just know when things are good and when things are wrong or hurting these children, because that's what's paving the way. And appreciation for your senators, your politicians, your governor, like people that govern the system and enforce the system and teach the children. And then things can start to go back to normal. And thank you, 5G networks. Thank you. Well, that is all. Big blizzard blowout. Illinois lottery. I don't endorse or anything, but I didn't play this. I found this on the ground. It looks pretty hard. I read the odds to you. And I'm not trying to knock that card, but you got to kind of understand how things work. So when something's new, it's not always good. When something's new, it could always be a helpful situation to a relief, but it's not a relief on. There's a balance. Everything has a balance. All right, y'all. Remember, it's not YouTubulous, because that's my homie saying. It's YouTubulos. I'm out.